Hey peeps, Tyler here with a library haul. I figured I want to start using the library consistently and support libraries, so I'm going to be doing library hauls. This isn't my first one, I've had some before. Anyway, this morning I got 3 books. This one from the library, Outrage Machine, How Tech Amplifies Discontent, Disrupts Democracy, and What We Can Do About It, by Tobias Rose-Stockwell. Introduction by Jonathan H. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that name, but who wrote The Anxious Generation, which I read and highly recommend. I didn't even realize he wrote the introduction to this until I started reading it, which you can see him already on page 85. I already highly recommend it, but I'm going to read the synopsis. An invaluable guide to understanding the technology that captures our attention with anger. The original internet was not designed to make us upset, distracted, confused, and outraged, but something unexpected happened at the turn of the last decade when a handful of small features were quietly launched at social media companies with a little fanfare. Together they triggered a cascading set of dramatic changes in how media, politics, and society itself operate, inadvertently creating an outrage machine we could not ignore. Author, designer, and media researcher Tobias Rose-Stockwell shares the defining shifts caused by these technologies and how they have ignited a society-wide crisis of trust. Drawing from cutting-edge research and vivid personal anecdotes, Rose-Stockwell illustrates how social media has bound us to an unprecedented system of public performance, training us to react rather than reflect and attack rather than debate. Outrage Machine reveals the triggers and tactics used to exploit our anger, unpacking how these tools hack our deep tribal instincts and psychological vulnerabilities, and how they have become opportunistic platforms for authoritarians and a threat to democratic norms everywhere. But this book is not just about the problem. In a story spanning continents and generations, Rose-Stockwell explores how every new media technology disrupts our ability to make sense of the world, from the printing press to the telegraph, from radio to television. Outrage Machine situates social media within a historical cycle of confusion, violence, and emerging tolerance. Using clear language and powerful illustrations, this book reveals the magnitude of the challenges we face while offering realistic solutions and a promising pathway out. So yeah. On page 85, and the last page before the acknowledgments and notes and whatnot is 363. But like I said, I'm already loving this. There's a lot mentioned on Facebook about this, which for some reason I wasn't thinking of, because I'm also reading Careless People at the moment, which I did not think to get. But also the Dust Dark itself, because I own Careless People, I bought Careless People, which is about a woman who used to work at Facebook. And yeah, I'm currently reading that as well. I think honestly these might pair well together. But hopefully I'll have a more detailed, better review once I actually finish both of them. Because right now I haven't finished either yet. I'm not sure exactly what page I'm on Careless People. But there's that one. And then also got Men We Reaped by Jesmyn. In 4 years, Jesmyn lost 5 young men dear to her, lost to drugs, accidents, and suicide. Their deaths were unconnected on the surface of things, but their lives were connected by identity and place, and as Jesmyn dealt with these losses, one after another, she came to a realization at once obvious and staggering. Her brother and the other men died because of who they were and where they were from, because certain disadvantages bred a certain kind of bad luck, because they lived with a history of racism and economic struggle that fostered drug addiction and the dissolution of family and relationships. The truth of those lives and their too early ends nagged at her until she knew she had to write about her community, to write their stories and her own. Jesmyn grew up in poverty in rural Mississippi. She writes powerfully about the pressures this brings on the men who can do no right and the women who stand in for family in a society where the men are often absent. She bravely tells her story, revisiting the agonizing losses of her only brother, her cousin, and friends she grew up with. As the sole member of her family to leave home, Jesmyn writes about the place she came from with the objectivity distance provides, but with the intimacy of utter familiarity with the love that made her ultimately return. Men We Reaped opens up a parallel universe, and yet it points to problems whose roots are woven into the soil under all our feet. It is a stirring Clear-Eyed and Indispensable American Memoir. So that's been on my want to read for years, actually. And because I recently read and reviewed Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler, I picked up this, Parable of the Talents, because I read Parable of the Sower on Libby, but they don't have ebooks on Libby or Hoopla, but they have the audiobook, and I struggle with audiobooks, because focus and auditory processing disorder. But I think I might actually listen to it while reading it, because my county had one copy. Apparently my city library used to have a copy, but it was due back in 2019. So this is literally the only copy. And of course I will return it. But like I said, I struggle with audiobooks, so I got this out, and yeah. Obviously it's the sequel, so I don't want to necessarily spoil anything. But as I said, I did review Parable of the Sower. I think it's technically in a short, but it should be in my book reviews playlist. And yeah. So I'm going to be reading and probably listening to as well, because listening along while reading is like better, because I can see the words. So I might actually listen along while reading it, but yeah. Those are the 3 books I got this time for my library haul. Let me know if you've read them, or... because Outrage Machine came out in 2023. I don't know when Men We Reaped came out, but like I said, that's been on my TBR for years. And yeah. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to, and have a nice day.